Hello YouTube, Ranger Reno. Say, I'm thinking of heading out today to do a little bit of beaver trapping. We're down to freezing now and things are starting to get a little bit busy for what looks to be an opportunity for trapping again this year. Hey, check this out. Fur Harvesters Auction Inc. out of Ontario. Got that as a gift from my good friend Blair up at the Wild North of Netley. Now, if you haven't checked out the Wild North of Netley, let me tell you, you've been missing it. That's right, you've been missing it. Check it out. Lots of good walleye fishing, trap line running. I mean, I'm talking real trap line running with Trapper Terry up there. Now, I might be a trapper, but I'm telling you, when you think about trapping, those boys are out there sub-zero running on snow machines and super duper wilderness. I'd love to do it someday, let me tell you. I've dreamed about it. I read books on that stuff just so I can pretend I do it in my own brain. But I tell you, these guys do it for real. And they were kind enough to send me this bag just as a token of friendship and said, go get them, Ranger. So I'm heading out there now. I'm going to set some of those beaver traps, hopefully show you some harvest that could ultimately go to the auction up there. So thank you, Blair. Thank you, Trapper Terry. Let's see if I can do you justice with a little bit of beaver trapping here. Hello, YouTube. Ranger Reno. Hey, we're taking care of some nuisance beaver today. It's getting to be out of hand. These guys have 4 dams on the river. I suspect they're younger beaver. I saw one on the road the other day. It was pretty small. Today I'm in a culvert here. We call it the bridge, right? It's a big bridge. It's all made of concrete. And you can see back here, all concrete. And then what I'm standing on is concrete too. Maybe you can see it behind me there. This apron comes out up to about here, where I've got concrete all the way out here on this side. And so as a result, there's nowhere to stake my conibear. There's no way to stabilize it, except I have the new ingenious stabilizer here. Look at this. I made a stabilizer using a brake rotor. Now, got a couple friends out there that watch occasionally. 2 of my 3 viewers, Trapper Terry and Blair. This, I think, is going to pay dividends. I set a concrete block down on the apron because the water's too deep. I got to keep them up a little higher. I'm putting a block down here. You can see this 4x4 to fence them off, to force them to the other side to a narrow opening where I will put the 330 conibear and utilize the rotor stabilizer. The rotor stabilizer. Pretty slick. Seriously easy to build. 2 screws and 5 pieces of wood, and I was in business, and a rotor. Like I said, you can go to any brake shop and pick up old rotors from these guys. I use these for anchors on the end of my drowning sets too for beaver, which maybe you'll see later. I'll try to show that. Anyway, I'm gonna get on with it, make the set, get the heck out of here, because I've got a bunch more sets to make up the river, some dam breaks, a couple crossovers, that kind of thing. And I'll try to check the traps with you daily, show you the harvest, etc. Here we go. All right, so got them blocked off right here. You can just see the stabilizer under the water. A couple sticks over the top, make him dive under, hit the 330. And you can see how he's traveling right here through the duckweed. And this is his preferred path. He wants to come to that corner. He's actually trying to dam this off, but whew, I would have filmed making the set and all, but holy mackerel, it's pretty precarious getting down in there, doing all that, and setting up a camera without dropping it in the water and destroying the thing. On we go. Okay, I'm going to move upstream now to a couple of the dams, do some dam breaks, and then there's a crossover on a pond I'm going to hit as well. Let me show you the arsenal we're working with. I like the TS85 for Leghold. Like I said, I use the rotors for my anchor in some cases. On this one, I've got an old coffee can full of concrete. You know, it's not the heaviest anchor, but it's usually enough to slow them down. I've never lost one. It does drown most of the younger beaver. Back here I've got a pile of 330s, hatchet, mallet, trapping gloves here, etc. My little bag over here, trapping bag. I've got this little bag I keep my scents and stuff in there, but we're not using scents, other stabilizers in there. It's all good stuff. Okay, so here's the north leg of the pond. Comes up here, and the little rodents come on through. You can see they're pretty distinct crossover trail right here. Ideal spot for a 330 conibear. Coming down into the water there, I can ambush them back in there. We'll see what we can do to show you a set quick. Yeah, I can already see where he's been coming up here, feeding on the bank and kind of doing his thing. So this is definitely being used. I'm going to use one of my homemade stabilizers. I'm going to toss a 330 down here. Natural point of constriction right here. They're going. Simple as that. I added 2 dead sticks to each side of the 330 for additional stabilization. And dead sticks, never use live, they'll want to chew on them. I learned that one the hard way. First year I ever started beaver trapping. Anyway, I had to come up a little bit further this way because I wanted to just have the trap fill the exact gap of the water, and I put a stick over the top to help make him dive so he doesn't try to go over the top or around it. And those additional stabilization sticks will help to guide him straight through the middle of the trap as well. We'll be checking them. Oh yeah, she's muddy out here. Okay, like I figured, on the west end of the pond, you can see the crossover trails here, plain as day, going between the river and the pond. And over here, closest to the lodge, is a beauty. They kind of get their favorites depending on where their food source is at, but you can see this is a dang jungle. And yes, beaver trapping is a dangerous job, really hard work. I've shed a lot of layers already, but see if I can get you a picture of this one. You can pretty well see it. Getting at it is almost impossible sometimes. There you go, look at the green algae tracking on their bodies back and forth. Holy smokes. Go back and get more traps and or snares, but we got a bad problem here. Okay, pardon me for being out of breath, but here's the beaver crossover trail. Go between here, right up there. The lodge is back here in the pond. This way is the river. I'm gonna put a TS-85 right here and then run my drowning anchor out this way in the deeper water. Let's do it. Okay, here's the TS-85. Now I'm gonna set it so that my jaws are this way, parallel to the path of travel, and it opens up a much broader area for his foot to get into and keeps the springs out of play. Let's see if I can get this set and show you how it's done. Now, I should make note of this for you. Look at, he's over in the neighbor's cornfield hauling stalks of corn back and forth. That's what they did last time they were living here. Evidently they like field corn for their winter food source. Okay, so I'm gonna make a nice little flat spot right here, which he's already got for me more or less. Could use a little, pretty damn deep, but we'll get her now. Take a foot up this way. Here. Here. He's got rocks and stuff there. I might have to build that up a little bit. Not sure how at this point. Let's see what I can do. I left my gloves back there, of course. Oh, of course. Nice cool water. There. More. Bodygrip's on there. This feels good on an open wound. The water's getting cold. I tell you, we're not too far from ice. All right, let's see what we can do now. Take this bad boy right here. There we go. Stable, solid right there. All right, now my one-way slip is right here. Anchor it right there. Just push this in. Yep. Good. There we go. Now we just gotta get the anchor out deep. Help this bad boy drown quickly. As far as I can. There we go. All right. There you have it. See what we have in there tomorrow. Whew, man, there's a lot going on out here. Made that set in 3 minutes. Back to the next one. Oh, once again, I'm sure my Canadian friends and essentially all trappers can relate. There sits my beaver wagon, and here's my trail. This tree is, good Lord, 28 inches in diameter probably. And here we go, clearing trail, just so I can even walk back there. Yeah, I didn't have a chainsaw along today. Okay, we're coming back to check the traps. And those of you that have ever trapped know, oh man, it's something else getting back here, but it's also like Christmas morning. We come back and think, oh baby, here we go, huh? What we got? I'm hoping to find a gift. This is the TS-85 set. The dam is still broken running. And what do we got? Nope, no action. Alright. Tomorrow. So on this set with the TS-85 and the dam break, a deer stepped on one of the jaws of the trap. Like I said in my first night archery hunting video, the deer around here don't like to go across this river. They want to walk on dry land. And those rats will go across these dams before they'll ever swim the thing. Heavy, heavy, heavy clay base under this river. And I'm telling you, you step in there with hip waders or chest waders and you can get completely mired down and unable to move. So I understand where these guys are coming from. I mean, those skinny little deer legs sink deep into this stuff. Anyway, the deer stepped on the TS-85 right down here. Oops, right there. On the dam break. On to the next set. Let's get some action, man. I want some beaver. Okay, so we got one. I'm gonna have to dispatch him. They're definitely back here. Holy mackerel. I'm gonna double up on everything quick. Merry Christmas, Christmas morning. Larry B. Just a beeve. And the TS-85 Leghold. All right, we'll take care of him. Show him to you soon. Okay, there you have it. That is a good sized beaver. Probably pushing 45 pounds. I'd say 50, but Mrs. Ranger would correct me right away. But yeah, it's a dandy. Huh? There's a size 14 boot next to it. Give you some perspective. Nice prime hide. Deep fur, man. He's already priming up real nice. So only one today. All the other sets were empty. But I'm going to double down now and set some more traps in this area. So I'll make a couple more sets, haul this guy out, and we'll go from there. Okay, sometimes you take things for granted that you shouldn't. And one of those is that you need to dress warmly when you're beaver trapping. Good night, I'm sweating, man. I just got that 45 pounder back there. He's 42 inches tip to nose. And I got thinking, you know, I had to haul my gear out. This big log's across my trail. Again, I don't have a chainsaw. Well, I have a chainsaw, but I didn't bring it along to cut everything out. Just trying to make the jaunt back and forth. It's good for me, man. It keeps me healthy, keeps me young, right? At least that's my story. So everybody says I don't look my age. That's a good thing to hear. Now, what I was taking for granted was that, you know, a lot of my viewers probably don't have an idea the traps I use and the nuances of the traps. So thought I'd just show you quick one of them. I primarily use two, you know, footholds and conibears. This is called a conibear, all right? Now this one has never been used. Well, I shouldn't say that. I had to replace these triggers on here. I like to spread the triggers out a little bit, like that, instead of making them straight down. That way he comes through, he thinks it's just grass, he's gonna push through, right? Now, in order to compress these springs, it's a lot easier to have a setter like this. And you essentially hook it into each one of these eyes and squeeze and flex it down. Then you set this piece here called the safety, right? Very important, the safety right here. That little hook is designed to hold that spring. So when it comes time to set it, you're in a much safer position. Now, setting beaver traps will definitely exercise your ability to grip, because you have to compress these jaws. And let me tell you, that's no easy task, because these babies are powerful. They're meant to be powerful. But while I'm doing that, you hold it so that the safety's got gravity holding them in place, right? Because if I was to let go, it'll pop back against that hook and save me from breaking my wrist, my arm, my fingers, whatever. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Now, once I compress it, of course, then I can just set the trigger and get her over to one side. Okay, now the trap is set. A very key point here now, make sure you take the safeties off. You have to flip that safety. Otherwise, you're just going to end up working for the Beaver Education Program. We don't want to be on the Beaver Education Program. We want to be on the Beaver Harvest Program, all right? If you leave a safety on, that jaw is not going to close all the way, and the beaver is going to be highly educated and extremely trap smart, and you aren't going to catch the beaver. Let me tell you, it's going to be a tough road to hoe. So anyway, make sure you have your safeties off. Now I'm going to put the safeties back on, because I like to carry them with the safeties cocked, you know, kind of preloaded, if you will. It's like having a bullet in your magazine, but not in your chamber, all right? You're ready, but it's pretty safe. All right, so I can just back this down now by taking the trigger off and just letting her pop up against those safeties. And you see, with the safeties on, she doesn't close all the way. Now, like I say, I gotta go back and haul out a 50-pound beaver. Oh, let me just tell you this too. I use the same rebar stakes. I use these T-handle ones. For coyote, I like the washer on top, because they tend to spin around a lot. With these guys, I can get a hold of this and push it in the ground and get her down there pretty good with my boots, back of my axe or whatever, to pound that in. I don't get a lot of twisting and turning, because generally you want to make your set such that the beaver drowns or dies instantly, and there's no lingering in the trap. Now I gotta go back and get that 50-pound beaver. I've got this little yoke here made out of mule tape. I'll just sling that around each of his back feet like this in a slip knot fashion, and then I can have a nice handle to haul him out. Because let me tell you, I got about a quarter-mile hike back there. Hoofta. It's a bit of a haul, but you got to do what you got to do, right? Like I said, it was about 32 degrees when I started. I had on a camouflage, heavy long sleeve shirt, a wool vest, and this long sleeve poly shirt. I'm down to just the poly shirt. I'm heading back. So that gives you a little bit of experience on the 330 there, 330 conibear. I also like to add a piece of cable to the end, so I've got a little more length to get over into the right area to drive my stake. And on my drowning sets, I'll show you next time I get out sitting at TS85, which is my primary Leghold trap. I use the same cable that I use for snaring coyotes as my drowning wire, or drowning cable in this case. And I use the one-way lock mechanism that I use for snaring coyotes as my lock, so when the beaver hits the trap, he goes down the end of the cable to the weight out in the deep water, and that cable won't allow him to come back up the other direction. Very effective. Yeah, they can kink this a little bit now and then, but it's relatively inexpensive, and quite honestly, when you throw your weight out in the deep water, you straighten a lot of that stuff out, and it can be used multiple times. Besides, he's going with a lot of force. He's going to work that locking mechanism down that cable with relative ease and a lot of power behind it. All right, let's go get the beaver.